Hi, Dan here with SkyPilot Faith Quest podcasts and now videos. Welcome to the second in this year's brand new Lenten video series. Each of these videos is based on readings, stories, traditions associated with a particular day in Lent. And this one's based on Sunday, February 28th of this year, 2021. I have this dream. It's a long-standing fantasy, really. You see, I would like to hike the entire 2,000-mile Appalachian Trail. I'd love to take 6 months and hike the trail straight through. But there are reasons that this dream has, well, stayed in the realm of dreams. There were for many years far too many other things to which I had committed myself. And I was, of course, deeply involved in the things I was doing at the church, and the amount of time necessary for this challenge always made it perpetually out of reach. And now that I have the time, there are new physical challenges, to be honest. Following my back surgery, I'm not sure my body could tolerate sleeping on the ground anymore. Should I get sore just sleeping on my mattress nowadays? I do occasionally still daydream about how I would make the hike. I even plan it out. I would start in the spring at the southern end of the trail, Springer Mountain, and move my way north. Then I try and work through exactly what I would carry. What would be necessary? What would not? How much food would I figure each day? Sarah has always been willing to play along with my dream to an extent. She's probably not as excited. No, she's not as excited as I am about it. She says that she would hike with me occasionally, but when Sarah and I do our joint daydreaming together about this trip, she spends more time thinking about the inns that she will enjoy staying at as she comes to visit me along the trail. The thing that appeals to me about hiking the Appalachian Trail is the challenge. I'm impressed by the commitment necessary to finish the trail. And this is the same thing that impresses me about, say, the Eagle Scouts. I was not a scout, but as a priest, I've been a part of 15 or so Eagle Scout award ceremonies, and I'm always impressed. To be an Eagle Scout means to undertake a long journey. There are challenges and setbacks along the way. To make Eagle Scout, you must learn to be motivated, not by the ease of the task because it's not, but by the difficulty of the journey ahead. And on the Appalachian Trail, many hikers go through several pairs of shoes on their time on the trail. They hike through rain and snow and horrible wind. They experience bugs, mud, leaky tents, wet sleeping bags, soggy food. So why do it if it's so hard? The real reason is because it is so hard. What appeals to me about the Appalachian Trail is the level of difficulty and the effort required. It is the fact that it is hard that makes it so appealing to me. The reason why people work so hard for their Eagle Scout award is because it is difficult. When a climber climbs a cliff face, she does not climb in spite of the challenges faced. She climbs precisely because of the challenges she gets to face. People climb Mount Everest because it means so much to them if they achieve this difficult journey. They climb because Everest not only will demand their best, but it may take all they have. Every single climber knows the possible costs. 1 out of 3 climbers who makes it to the summit of Everest dies. Yet there are still so many people wanting to climb the mountain that there are traffic problems, literally congestion problems on the mountain. When you climb the mountain, you're given a window of time to attempt your summit on a particular day. And if your window only offers bad weather, then you've lost your chance. And that's after you've spent $50,000 to $100,000 for the privilege of even trying. And yet people continue to go because it demands their best. It demands courage, commitment, and sacrifice to make it, to even make the attempt. We live in a world filled with people who seem hungry to be challenged. There are people all around us who are paying money to go on outward bound excursions, climb Everest, participate in adventure racing events, all to be challenged to their absolute limits. Even high school kids are seeking challenges. There's no trouble filling the sports teams in our communities. The soccer teams, the football teams, the baseball teams all have plenty of players despite the challenges and rigors and demands of being on the team. And there's no problem finding people to stand out on a hot field and practice their band instruments for hours on end. It is the challenge, the commitment, and the sacrifice that brings them there. Now, allow me to share with you the reading that many will hear in church this coming Sunday, depending on when you're watching this video. This is from Mark 8. Then he began to teach them that the Son of Man must undergo great suffering and be rejected by the elders, the chief priests, and the scribes, and be killed, and after 3 days rise again. He said all of this quite openly, and Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. But turning and looking at his disciples, he rebuked Peter and said, "Get behind me, Satan, for you are setting your mind not on divine things, but on human things." He called the crowd with his disciples and said to them, "If anyone wants to become my followers, let them deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. For those who want to save their life will lose it, and those who lose their life for my sake and for the sake of the gospel will save it. For what will it profit them to gain the whole world and forfeit their life? Indeed, what can they give in return for their life? For those who are ashamed of me and of my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, of them the Son of Man will also be ashamed when he comes in the glory of his Father with the holy angels." Jesus has an interesting interaction with the disciples here. He begins to tell the disciples of the road ahead. He describes to them the things that must happen in the future. And Peter begins to argue with this. And Jesus says, "Get behind me, Satan." He wants them to realize that the road ahead is demanding and filled with struggle and sacrifice. It demands commitment. "If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me," is what he says. So here's the current situation. The world in which we live, the world around us, is filled with times and places, opportunities that demand commitment and potential sacrifice. Many of those are oversubscribed by people. There are people lined up waiting for these opportunities. Jesus pulls his disciples together and says the road ahead will demand commitment and sacrifice. So if people in this day and age want commitment, if they want to be challenged, if they want to be expected to sacrifice, then why are we not seeing the church boom? There seems to be two possible answers. Either they don't really want it, or we, the church, we don't really offer it. Wouldn't it be interesting if we don't attract more people to Christ, not because we demand too much, but because we expect too little? A number of years ago, one of the major food companies came up with a new boxed cake mix. Just add water and bake. And you had a delicious cake. But interestingly, it didn't go well for them. People didn't buy it. So after some market research, they made some changes so that the consumer had to add an egg and some oil and water. And suddenly, they couldn't make them fast enough. People wanted to have more invested. They wanted more expected of them. Stanley Hauerwas, theologian at Duke Divinity School, has said that the reason why our children are leaving the church when they grow up and never coming back is not because we've made it too hard. He says children will stay when we show them that their faith is something worth dying for. Wow. That's a thought to give you pause, isn't it? Show our children true commitment. Tell them that sacrifice will be required. Make no effort to soft sell the faith, and they will follow Christ. Commitment requires our willingness to take up the cross and follow Christ, even unto death. That's what Jesus says in the gospel today. Follow me and prepare to sacrifice your life. But in sacrificing your life, you will discover that you have found true life. The world out there wants what we have to offer. Actually, it wants what Jesus has to offer, straight up, not watered down, but the way Jesus intends it. The truth is that they are looking so hard for what we have to offer that they seek it, sometimes in increasingly strange places. This is Lent. This is our season, our time in which we reconnect with the truth of what we believe, who we are, and how we should live out our lives. If you and I will but live it, the others will believe it. The church grows when you and I grow. The gospel of the Christian message has only one way to be seen, one way to be known, one way to be understood in the world around us, and that's us. The world out there can only be understood up to the level that we are willing to live out the gospel of Jesus Christ. The world seeks commitment, challenge, but most importantly, meaning. Come, let us show them, not only with our lips, but most importantly with our lives. If we live it, they will believe. Amen. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, I invite you to check out my podcasts. You can find them wherever you listen. Just look for SkyPilot Faith Quest. And on your spiritual journey, may you ask questions, seek answers, and boldly go wherever the quest takes you.